with this social media world that everybody should be perfect and everybody should look a certain way and everybody's so busy copying everybody else's style. But it's not about that. It's about living your own style.
Hey, Christian aka Cheesepofish here. In this episode we will talk about appearance, not makeup tips nor outfit. We will go deeper, plus some important aspects you may need to improve if you are an entrepreneur. Hello, I am Christian Parraga aka Cheesepofish, and this is Ken-Sho Growth by Pain, where you can get experiences from guests hoping they will give you insight moments. Today I am with Maryum Sharif. She studied IT and management. Maryum is the host and founder of Style Moguls podcast and Academy MUA Image Consultant, Branding and Confidence Coach. Maryum, it is a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to Ken-Sho Podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
We met in a course. It was broadcasting yourself. We both started a podcast and it is amazing. Tell me about the journey about podcasting, please. A little short one.
Well, you know what? Actually, I wanted to do a new venture, and I always create and do something new, keep myself evolving. And I just happened to hear something about Gary Vee saying that, it's the best thing to do. The podcasting is amazing. 2019 is about podcasting. And I was just I do a lot of TED Talks. I keep myself quite, educated, as in the sense of kind of keeping up to date. So when I heard that, I thought, oh, okay, podcast. And I wanted to do a podcast anyway, but when he said it and he thought, okay, so, someone in the industry is saying it, that it's something that we should be doing. At that time, I was living in the United Arab Emirates, and I was like, okay, I don't know if people know what podcasting is. Of course, in the States, the Western world, it's more common. It's been quite amazing. I've interviewed some lovely guests, and not only that the guests educate the audience, but I think that they also educate me. There's always something to learn from someone, and we just had a fantastic guest on my podcast, which was Star Moguls podcast, and she had been awarded Her Majesty's award for the kindness and the great work she was doing for charity. So yeah, it's been amazing.
Yes, it was nice. Well, I will start with the questions, and it is the hardest moment in your life, and how did it help you?
Okay, so I would say there's a couple of moments where I think that it's hard, but life-changing. And so the first one was when obviously my father passed away, and it was unexpected, and, I was still young at that time. And you're forced to grow up in a situation where and deal with things differently. So you have a different perspective and different responsibilities. My mother wasn't too well and was disabled at that time. So just knowing that having to take control of everything was quite overwhelming, and to get over death itself. So, but what I kind of learned from that was that you've got to be surrounded by really good friends and family who were supportive. You've got to go through the grieving process of actually feeling those feelings. And then, as they say, time is a healer. You eventually become used to, getting on with life, and you still have a presence and still have memories, but life is not permanent. That's what I've learned. It's not permanent, and the more we realize that we're only on this earth for a short amount of time, things can be so much. Our tolerance and kindness levels kind of change. So I think that was a big learning curve for me.
Yes, the awareness of the time is really important, right? Because especially when we're young, we think that we will live forever and everyone will live forever. And that big change, unfortunately, was in a Ken-Sho moment with a pain. But the important thing is that you got the awareness. How old were you?
I was in my 20s. Yeah, I was in my 20s, but at that time, you're so comfortable and so well taken care of. You don't think about anything. It's one of those things that I don't think that it's at any age, but when you do go through a parent's death at an early age, you do find it that it just changes your life. It does. The impact of it is completely different than it is when you're married and have your own children. So, and it just forces you to kind of to step up and just be brave, I guess. But I'm so blessed that my father taught me so well and, instilled such good character and traits in me that, he really told me how to live in this world. And I sometimes think that he was training me for better things. A very successful businessman himself, but humble and kind, and so much for contribution in charity work for his own community. So I think he kind of trained me, and he kind of told me how to live and how to behave. And that was just the foundation of, I think, for what I needed. So when he was no longer, I had to remember those things that he had taught me.
I didn't know that entrepreneurship was in your blood. That is nice.
Well, actually, I probably would say 50% are doctors. So they're all in medicine. And my father is the only business person in the family. And I'm recognized as the black sheep because I didn't go through the kind of the formal, the formal route or of the professional level, even though I studied IT and management at university, which was great. And I even asked my father at that time, what should I study? I really loved banking, but IT was the way to go, obviously. And so I didn't follow the traditional path like everybody else does. I followed, what I liked at the time, and I wanted to study. So
nice. Well, that gave you awareness, and also I think that that helped you to live in the present, to be grateful for the present. But recently you had another issue, right? That also helped you. Do you want to talk about that?
So there's two instances actually, and life is all about kind of dealing with things and accidents. I think we have accidents every day, and then we have to kind of they're minor or major, and we just have to deal with them. So 3 years ago, whilst living in the UAE, I had a very bad car crash. And I remember that James Bond moment when, to my knowledge, I was driving fine. I looked right and left, and all of a sudden, I had that James Bond moment where the car, with this big Jeep, was just zooming towards me. And I was like, at that moment in time, I thought, shit, I'm gone. And then the next moment, when I opened my eyes, I thought, oh my God, I'm alive. I literally thought, oh my God, I'm alive. I'm here. I don't really know what happened much after that. Went straight into hospital, and obviously it was a head-on collision. But I also think that I was saved for a reason and a purpose. That did change everything. I wasn't even now we talk about podcasting, but I couldn't even speak. I couldn't talk. I didn't have enough strength. The weird thing was that I didn't have any kind of major broken bones, but my whole body was shaken, and internally, my diaphragm was crushed, and I was battered and bruised. But yes, that took a long time, and I'm very resilient, and I'm like, let's get on with it. Let's just do this. Let's do that. And I think a week after my accident, I still went to visit a friend. She was visiting from Singapore, but it's only after weeks or months I realized the effect of it, that you really must kind of feel your body has to go through that kind of change, and you have to nurture your body. You have to, it's a traumatizing instant, and you have to do things differently. I haven't worn heels for 3 years, actually. If that's the downside of everything, is that you're forced to kind of go through things that you have taken for granted. And heels are amazing for me, and I can't live without them, but I was forced not to wear them. And just small things that you're not able to do and you take for granted. I just think that at that moment in time, I thought, oh my gosh, I've been saved for a reason. And I'm very spiritual, and I thought that Allah, God has saved me for a certain reason, and a certain, for something else, for something greater than this. But the fact that I was always grateful, I was always humble, because that was what my parents have taught me. But this taught me on a completely different level, that to cherish those around you, to cherish every day, to really squeeze the laughter and the happiness of out of every day. And no matter what happens, don't stay sad or miserable or confused. Those are just temporary. Actually, life is just worth living, and you just don't know when life will end for you. So I've always had a zest for life. I've always been young at heart and loved life, but I think that it just moves you in a different direction. You're mentally, physically, of course. I'm still healing. It took me a long time. I think it nearly took me about 2 years to kind of really get over the accident, and I'm really much better. I'm so blessed, alhamdulillah, for those things. But that was and still is, because I'm still having some treatment on my ankle. So yeah, it's an ongoing process. But when you realize that you should be happy in any situation, people don't have limbs. People don't even. I actually went to the doctor once and I said, "Oh gosh, I can't run. I really want to start running. I've put on so much weight." And my doctor said to me, "If you can't run, you can walk." And I said, "Of course I can." And she said, "Well, start walking." And I think that's what we forget, that people without fingers or hands or thumbs or whatever that they've lost, and they still get on with life. I can't wear heels or I can't run right at the moment, but I can at least walk. And you should do what your capacity is at that time, but keep on going and keep on doing something.
Yes, well, I will use the walk and run that you said. People in the entrepreneurship lab, especially, they try to run when they are learning, and they are not even able to walk normally. So it's a great message that you're saying, that you have to do what your capabilities are in that moment, and little by little they will change, and you'll realize that you have different capabilities or better.
Yeah, absolutely. One becomes stronger through mind and through physical being and spirituality. I think that really helped me. It helped me when my father passed away. It helped me when I had my accident. It helps me on an everyday basis. I actually start my day off, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I pray, but because I think that sets the tone. Because when they say when you sleep you actually die, and when you wake up God puts breath into your body again. So when you wake up, you should be the first thing that you should be thankful that you're awake and you're alive. So for those things, I think that being spiritual or having faith, that is probably the foundation of my thinking.
It is important. And as you said, one of the first things you should do is to be thankful because you're alive. And it is true. Remember gratitude every day. It helps you in many ways: awareness, happiness, and attraction. And of course, that is really important. And as you say, spirituality is something that helped you. And I would like to ask, that make a shift in your mind. What was the change you start doing? Like, did you start realizing that you want to help more, or you want to work more? What did you start changing after the accident?
Well, I've always been happy and positive, and anybody that knows me will know that I'm always busy doing something. Even from college days, I was working for the student union, and I used to help with people's housing and help them do their student union cards and organize events. And I've always been kind of the busy person doing something to help. I think it's just in my personality that I'm born that way. What I do believe is that you just appreciate every single moment. We carry on with life thinking, like you said, we're here forever and everything will be the same. Having those realizations, I think that people need to have these realizations or knockbacks or hardships to make you realize that, it brings you closer to God. For me, it definitely had and does. For me, it just, yes, living in the present, but just appreciating every moment and everyone. That everyone serves a purpose, and every day serves some kind of learning or lesson.
One of your focus is helping women. When did you start working with them and the society?
I've always had great friendships and great women, powerful and strong women around me. I think that being surrounded by such amazing women who are equally, beautiful, inside and out. They're well groomed and presentable, and they look after themselves. One of my favorite aunties, she was the deputy directress of all the schools and colleges of Punjab, and so that means in the big province in Pakistan. And in those days, it was unheard of that a woman could be at that status. She was really a powerful and kind of humble woman, but she was a real go-getter, and was a really a role model for me, I believe. And I've seen such great women around me, so I'm always interacting with such fabulous women that I always want to kind of enhance and help women also. So when I was in London, before I moved to the UAE, definitely I would always kind of get women together, and if it was either a social event or help them in some sort of way through styling or matchmaking or networking or doing something, I would always bring them together. And so when I went to the UAE, I didn't know anyone. I didn't know a soul. I was on my own. And so I thought, my mum came to visit me after a year and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, the first year I just did a lot of traveling. But the second year I was like, okay." She said, "You need to do something." And I was like, "Yeah, okay, I do." So I set up what I set up in England, and it's called the International Women's Society. And it was to help expats connect with each other that were on their own or that got married and came over with their partners, husbands, or they came over for business and needed some support because it's a completely different country, different culture, not knowing anybody and having that support. So we started off in 2014 with 17 ladies, I believe, at the dinner, and now we have over 700. So I started just networking and helping women and supporting, and we just meet every Saturday and we connect and we help and we share information and we support each other. And that's what I think every woman should do, is really to support and enhance and help each other. A woman is a woman's best supporter, definitely, and she knows and understands how women are, how they think and how they feel emotionally, away from families and needing that support, that platform. We've done amazing things as well. Obviously we have our nice lunches and dinners and stuff, but we do charity events and sporting events and then events at Dubai Mall for certain brands. So it's not just beauty and lunches, but it's mainly to really help other women. And because Dubai is quite a transitional place, people come in, people work, people go back. There's a great community of people coming to travel or coming to work, and it's a beautiful place, absolutely beautiful. But when you're there, it's lonely. And I had a couple of girls who had gone back to the States, and they said to me, "Maryum, thank you for setting up the society, and thank you for you, because we didn't know anybody, and it's only because of you we got to know so many other people." And that, for me, that's if I can do something every day to help someone, for me that's a good day.
That's amazing. I imagine the journey from 17 to 700. It is really, really good. In a moment, we will continue with some advices for entrepreneurs. I wanted to make this pause in order to invite you to send questions, suggestions of topics or improvements. Also, tell me, who would you like to be invited to the podcast? Contact me on Facebook, Instagram. You just look for Chispo Fish, CHISPOFISH, or send me an email to christian@chispofish.com. Now let's continue with the interview. You said that your father taught you many things in entrepreneurship, but you start your path in that. When did you start, and what is the recommendation for the people who would like to start, to be first step or to try to avoid?
So, like as I was mentioning before, that I come from a family of professionals, and education is thought as very highly, and indeed it should be, because I think it does teach you so much. However, my father studied law also, and I loved kind of that law aspect And then I liked banking, but I went into IT and management because I felt like this is the way for the future and I wanted to do it. But after that, I studied it and I loved it. That's when actually after my studies, my father passed away. And I realized that after a couple of years of sorting out a lot of things on the estate and a lot of things with after him passing, it's then that I moved to London. I decided that, it's time to follow my passion. I had responsibilities because I looked after my mum who was disabled, and I needed to be flexible in that sense as well. So I decided that I would do makeup and I would do interior design. I would actually travel from Gloucestershire, take the bus, which I think was 5 o'clock in the morning to get to my class at 9. And I would do this introductory kind of course from Gloucestershire to London, which was about an hour and a half. But on the coach, it was 3 hours. I wanted to do something after my father passed away. I followed my passion. And I decided that this was probably the right time. So firstly, I studied from Gloucestershire because obviously we were still in Gloucester at that time. And then we moved to London. And when we moved to London, I studied a diploma in makeup, but also because equally being creative, I studied interior decoration from Chelsea School of Art and Design. So I studied both things. After studying the makeup, I started doing a couple of consultations and helping women, from I did bridals to London Fashion Week to my friend's makeup, or anybody, someone's going to get engaged or someone going to see a proposal. It was just amazing things. And that instant reaction that I used to get from my clients was just so touching. I really felt that I had just helped them instantly by changing their style or their look. And I just thought, well, and I just happened to fall into that kind of that path. I just got more clients. I started writing. I set up my company, and then I moved to Mayfair. I started my first image consultancy business, and it was mainly for the Asian industry because I would go to all these amazing award ceremonies. So anybody that was picking up an award or giving an award, I was usually kind of styling them. And it was just one client after another client. It was just purely on recommendation. I've never kind of advertised anything, but it was just the fact that I really loved styling women and making them look fabulous. And one thing led to another. So I set up my first image consultancy business for the Asian market, because as much as they are all skilled and talented and amazingly rich, but they are, because they're hardworking and they've proved their success. But looking at them, I just thought they don't look as their value. They don't look as groomed and presentable. And for me, creating a style or an image is my forte. I love doing that. So I was based in Mayfair, and I was reporting for events, and I would be called to some perfume launch, or I would be styling. I would be doing London Fashion Week shows or corporate events, or and people would just invite me because they wanted me to just write about them. So I did that blogging over 10 years ago. So I started my blogging career a long time ago. So yeah. And it was amazing, and it still is amazing. I still kind of keep up with my creativity. I'm still in that field, and with styling and image consultancy. So I still love it. Absolutely.
Amazing. For a person who would like to to improve their looking, what is the first thing you make the change in order to make a better impact in the image?
Yeah. So when somebody comes to me, I would say to them, my first and most important question is that, do you know who you are? Because if we don't know who you are, how am I going to be able to help you? And it's really kind of amazing, because half of my consultation is actually kind of coaching, where my first question I always ask, there's a philosopher called Socrates, and he said, know thyself. And I think the most important thing is in styling or entrepreneurship or business or anything, but the most important thing for any woman or any person is to know who they are. How do I know, and how am I going to help them to move forward? Are they going for that interview, or are they going for that investment deal? Are they going to set up a business? Are they going to present? Are they going for some public speaking? So I need to know exactly who you are, what you stand for, and where you want to go. sometimes it's amazing that people actually don't know who they are. And sometimes it's tearful. It's a real emotional journey, because people just expect, with this social media world, that everybody should be perfect and everybody should look a certain way, and everybody's so busy copying everybody else's style. But it's not about that. It's about loving your own style. Love your style, and getting to know who you are. So obviously I create signature styles and I help them match their businesses. You can't play with fashion or brands. People buy expensive clothes and make all these purchases when it's not needed. They're trying to pretend to be somebody else, and you don't know who your style is, not just physically but mentally also. Your mental style, what is it? I can dress you for your body shape and make you look fabulous and knock off a couple of inches for you to look slimmer and taller and all those wonderful things. But really, there also comes, actually, when styling, I think that this is probably the secondary most important, is that through knowing thyself comes confidence. So those people that are stylish for me are very confident. They know who they are. They know who their mission in the world. They know what their passions are. They know what they like and what they don't like. Actually, for me, confidence is born from two elements, which is firstly courage. Having the courage to be who you are and what you stand for in the world. Go out there, do what you need to do, take risks, take action, go for it. My second element would be self-belief. Having that self-belief of who you are, and the convictions that you have in your head and what you want to achieve. Your self-belief is so important. You've got to believe in yourself, otherwise how else will somebody else believe in you? And that just takes practice and practice and practice.
That's amazing. You took it to a deep level, and for sure that makes the big difference, because, as you said, that will bring confidence. And it doesn't matter if you have the best outfit and great makeup. If you don't have confidence, it's not you. You're not given to the world the right energy. So
I think there's the side effects of styling, which I love, because styling and makeup is like armor for a woman, definitely. And you're blessed to wear high heels. I mean, in that sense, I know diamonds are a woman's best friend, but I do believe that heels, give that power. But what happens is, when you look good and you see your face radiating, your hair done well, and you look stylish, it's the side effects of styling, which is confidence. It's the side effects of styling that gives you that ambition to do better. Because what happens is, when you look good, you feel good, and this helps you and improves. And I've seen it in so many women over and over again. It's a ripple effect. When all of the things that you do, your relationships get better, you're doing better at work, you're smiling more, because you're feeling good, but what it is to feel good temporarily, then to extend it, and the rest you have to do. I can ignite that for you, I can set you up, but then it's you to do the rest of the work. And and that comes with doing small things often, and then go for it. And then the more you do it, the more you practice, the better you become. But there's the side effects of styling, which I absolutely love. I think it just improves relationships, it improves all aspects of your life. It's absolutely amazing.
that is nice. You give them the push then.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. And if I would ask you to choose between one thing, sometimes it's hard. It could be a habit, a tool, but it's the game changer. What is the thing that you did for your success?
I think that I was just focused. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and I always kind of look at the end goal. So I would imagine the fact that I had my own company and I would be working and I was styling these amazing women and I would be going places and I'd be traveling. I've gone, actually, before I was living in Dubai, I actually had styled two ladies in England, and they flew me out to Dubai to do the wedding makeup. So I'm kind of not only manifested, but I kind of visualized the end result. And for me, that was a very powerful tool. My final destination is to have my own business, to serve people, to create value, to help as many people as I could. But yeah, so for me, it's, the end result, that really helped me, kind of really knowing the end goal. If you think about what you have to do initially. So if I thought, oh my God, I'm going to start podcasting, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, I would never do it. But for me, it was really looking at the end goal. Look at what you want to do in life and stay focused, and don't move from those things. And we as women, we have responsibilities of husbands, work, and kids, and we put everybody first. And we forget that we also we're not just Mrs. So-and-so or the daughter of so-and-so. We have our own identity, and we have just as much skill and talent and passion to do something. And that's why actually my tagline for this year with the International Women's Society is to do something, do something for 2019, tag me into something that you're doing, do something, because you're wasting your life, you're wasting your talents, do something. And that's the first part, don't sit around, go out and just do something. Even if it is start off by reading a book, making those investments in yourself. And that's a huge thing, actually. I learned something at an earlier stage, is that I've always invested in my own self. I've always gone to some seminars or courses, or I've upgraded by, reading. I went to the Anthony Robbins events. I went to the T. Harv Eker. I've done so many kind of self-development, because as much as my father gave me the foundations, it's up to me to do the rest, right? So he's given me those qualities, but I've got to go out and kind of get them. So for me, planning, having focus, being consistent, I think it all comes part of the package. But mainly it's you got to know what you want in life. Who are you and what you want? Otherwise, how can you help and serve other people? You can't. How can you create, contribute, and serve? You won't be of any value to yourself or anybody else.
Totally right. And really important. If you don't know where you're going, of course, you already arrived to the destination. And going to the closure questions, what is the best advice you ever received?
The best advice I had received is to take action. I think that's the most important thing, because don't let a good idea die on your lips. If you have something and you want to do something, you just have to take action, do something. Whatever your situation is, don't dwell on it. We go through so many things as women, we are so emotional beings, but we're such talented and skilled. What we do is we overthink, and we delay and simmer in our sadness, and we don't need anybody else to pull us out of that situation. We don't need anybody to empower us. We are already empowered, and we know what we're doing. It's just the fact that if you have a voice, use it. If you have a skill, share it. What you've got to do is take action on your thoughts. If you have a great idea in your head, if you want to do something, then take action. Have a little list and think, okay, I want to do 2 things a day. And by the time you finish the week, you'll have managed to kind of achieve so much more than you actually thought you could. So I think taking small steps, taking that action, and just going for it. You have to give yourself energy, put that energy into everything that you do. I'm a big believer of energy. And when I had my accident, actually, I did lose that energy. For me, my energy and my spirit is probably my best friend. I put energy in every conversation that I have, in every meeting that I have, in every project that I do, in every business that I have. I've got to put my whole full commitment, my focus, and my energy into it. So, put energy into your actions.
Energy is a big thing. It works, even you don't see it.
Energy is to be felt. That's when somebody walks into the room, you can feel their energy. You can see that person has a presence or charisma, because it's the energy that they create. And for me, that's really important. It's the energy that introduces yourself.
Yes, and action, that is important. It's really amazing when you start doing little things and you see a little day by day what you're doing. It is taking you somewhere. But if you don't do any one step a day, you won't go anywhere. So do it, do it, do it. It's a good advice.
Exactly, exactly.
And the flip side, what is the worst advice you ever received?
The worst, just accepting a situation that you can't change it. Just accept it and get on with it, and accept kind of the hardships of life, or something hasn't worked out, then you just accept it. But you know what, I think that it's up to you. It's your perception. Nobody knows you better than you, that yourself. Nobody can make that decision for you. You are in control of your life. It's your life and it's your decisions, what you do and what you don't do. I think that's for me, is don't accept anybody else's explanation. Everybody's made up from their own experiences and their own references in life, and what your one decision is to how live life is not another person's way. Everybody has their own way of thinking and their own way of doing things. You have to know what you like and what you don't like, your limitations, your strengths, your weaknesses. But don't accept somebody else's reality. That's not your reality. Don't accept somebody else's advice. Listen to people, but I think do what is good for you.
Yes. And we go back to the same thing, that is knowing yourself. That is the best thing to do first, because you will know your path, right?
Yeah. You know your path, you know your passion, you'll know why you are on this earth. And my father used to say to me, actually probably the best thing that he did say to me was that you're put on this earth to help each other. That's kind of instilled in me. I think that's in my DNA, that whatever I do, I have got to help somebody else. So, and I think I've always done that. I'm not one of those people of doing something and then keeping it to myself, because what will that achieve? Greatness only comes with when you help others be great also.
Yes. And Maryum, let's talk about your future. How do you see yourself in 5 years?
Wow, 5 years. So I've started obviously my podcasting, and I've restarted Moguls, which I had set up nearly 10 years back. In London Mayfair, and now I this year have started an academy. So I would like to do amazing things with business and style, because I believe that I'm in the business of style, right? So I don't believe I'm just making people look good. I'm also wanting them to start businesses. I love people to start and set up their own. And every woman, I'm really a champion of women in that sense. So I would really like to set up the academy, which I am doing this year, and hopefully that in the next week or so we are launching our website, so do check that out. But what we're going to be doing is to really helping other women, so to really start businesses, what to do, how to become independent, financially free, to help themselves, to use that skill and talent that they have. So the academy is something that I would really want to focus on the next 5 years. I want to set up a charity also, because for me part of creation is also contribution. Travel, I want to do some more like public speaking. My definition of success for 5 years is to really contribute and create value as much as I can through my academy, through the work that I do, through the networking or the women's events, and to really help women elevate. I'm not looking to empower anybody. I'm just really looking to elevate, because I think we're already empowered. We just need to kind of give that, like you said, little push, create signature styles, knowing who we are. And I think the world will be a much better place. So in the 5 years, that is really my mission, to really help as many students or, startup companies, businesses.
That's amazing. Help as many as you can, and in 5 years for sure will be a lot. And if people would like to follow you or reach you out, what is the best way to do it?
Yeah, so I'm on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. You can just follow me on Maryum Sharif, so just my name, and I can respond to you, so I can help you out in that sense.
Thank you so much for your time, for your knowledge, and sharing that, especially your experiences. Before we finish, do you want to say something else?
My last and final note is just whatever you do is, for me, is to be happy. I think that you can do everything in life and you can succeed and you can have success and money and all sense. But if you're not happy with yourself and who you are, it doesn't make any sense at all. So do everything that you do with love and kindness and happiness, and I think that will create success anyway, in everything you do. So be kind, be humble, and just do everything that you do with not just passionately, but just really love who you are and what you do in life.
Amazing message. Thank you so much, Maryum, and thank you everybody for staying tuned. Until next time.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Hey, it's me again. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you liked, please subscribe, and if you thought of someone who would be interested to hear this, share it, please. Remember that I'm giving my best effort, and something that would help me is to know your opinion. Please leave a review saying what caught your attention, what stands out for you, or what this brings to your life. Thank you, and until next time.